Hey guys, a video came to my attention and I want to share it with you because I think there's a lot to be learned from this video. The video is how I got scammed out of $5,000 in China. Now, of course, on this channel, I speak to men. I have a male audience, and this channel is about giving men information that they can use to improve their lives. But any real man cares about women. We want what's best for women. Now, we might disagree with other people on what's truly best for women, and a lot of the times we'll disagree with women themselves on what's truly best for them. But ultimately, of course, I want to see what's best for women. But this video came to my attention, and this girl, she's a travel vlogger. She's fairly new. She has almost 100,000 subscribers. She has some very successful videos. I have nothing personal against this girl. I want what's best for her. But because I want what's best for her, I left a comment, and I didn't mean to sound rude. I don't like to bust anyone's chops. I know what it's like on the internet to get comments, but sometimes there's no really truly soft way to say something. So I left a comment on her video where she tells this story about how she went to China to teach English, and basically she was scammed. She ended up working as an English teacher for over 2 months. They didn't pay her anything. She had to pay all her own expenses. She was pretty much going broke. At the end of this, she could barely even afford to feed herself, and she ended up in a very bad situation. And really, as someone that's traveled extensively myself, you don't want to end up in a bad situation in a foreign country, especially a non-Western country, especially when you're looking at third world countries, and this is China. You really don't want to find yourself in any kind of trouble at all in a country like China. But I left a comment, and a lot of people, since this is on her channel, and she has a following of people that of course like her very much, you know, a lot of people were very offended by this comment, and I didn't do it to be mean, but I'll just read it for you. You would be better off and happier finding a decent man, getting married, and having kids. Your prime years are passing by fast. Don't waste what you have left. And that might sound very harsh, but the reality is, if she was 40, 45 years old, I wouldn't leave a comment like that because there'd be no point. It would be too late to do anything about, so that would just be mean. That would just be rubbing salt in someone's wound. But the good news for her is she looks like she's about mid-20s. There's still time for her to do something, to find true fulfillment and happiness in life. Because right now, a lot of people think she's happy, and she probably is happy to a certain extent, living this life. Things are going well. I know how it is. Just full disclosure, I had a travel channel myself, a vlogging channel, and it is really fun for a while, especially if you're young. But after a while, it starts to wear on you, and you start to hate it. And what happens too, the YouTube audience and the YouTube world is very fickle. I've been on YouTube since about 2006. And I can tell you, look at all the old-time people that were big on YouTube. How many are still around? Remember that channel, What the Buck? That used to be a big channel around 2007, 2008. Well, the guy's still on YouTube, still making videos. He gets next to no views. So he's still putting in the same amount of effort, but he's getting a fraction of the reward. Almost no reward. And that's what's going to happen. There's always going to be younger people coming up that are fresher, exciting. Even that Jewish guy from New York, he's not considered as hip and cool as he used to be. He's kind of run his course, and it's only going to get downhill. There's a natural cycle to life. Whether you're talking about a human or a corporation, a business, things are going to grow and get better and stronger. You know, thinking about a baby, and then it becomes a teenager. From 13, then it becomes 14. It gets bigger, stronger, becomes a better athlete. And then you get to a point where you kind of peak, and you're the best you're ever going to get. And then things get worse and worse with every year. Sometimes this can be a very slow process, or it can be a very quick process, especially if you're talking the internet world. There's businesses like Sears that were once high and mighty, but now they're on that downswing. Even websites. MySpace, look at how huge that was. Facebook, it's going downhill. But I left this comment that I got a lot of people that were very upset at this because they thought it was hateful. But this is the reality for this girl. Now, if I'm going to be even more harsh, she's okay looking. She's not good enough to get the men that are 9s out of 10s or 10s out of 10. You know, those guys that are really hot guys that really can get any woman they want, where all the women will be swooning. Those guys aren't going to go for someone like this the way it is. But compared to most other American women, women in Western countries, at least she's not fat. She's still very thin. And guys, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, you know, this girl's not bad. A warning sign, I would say, a couple about a girl like this. First of all, you don't really want to get involved with someone that does social media, whether it's just they're looking for likes and attention, or someone that's doing it more professionally like this. That's a sign of women that it's going to be hard to be with. But a girl like this, sign number 1, this is lesson number 1, why you should avoid a girl like this for dating. Number 1, she has something coming out of her nose. She has a nose ring, nose piercing. If you see a girl that's covered in tattoos, or especially when they have nose piercings, that's a red flag. Stay away. Girls like that, they're not even worth hooking up with, because I know you're thinking, well, you know, at least, you know, just for a quick hookup, I'm not going to marry her. But I would say even then, because the reality is those are signs, if a girl has tattoos or piercings in weird places, that she's what my dad's generation would call a loose woman. Whatever you want to call her, go ahead. But I'd say even if you're just looking to hook up for a little bit of fun, not even a serious relationship, I would say avoid it then, because you want to be around people that are going to lift you up, build you up. Don't even waste your time going after the low-hanging fruit. I know, especially on college campuses, there's guys that want to hook up, and they hook up with maybe a fat chick or whatever. It's just fun to them, but really you're spinning your wheels. You're wasting your time. Ideally, you want to be with people that are going to build you up and uplift you. So you want to go after people that ideally are a little bit higher quality than you are. And this girl, a lot of people, I'll get to some of these comments here. People were saying, someone says, STFU, she's living life and embracing all sorts of lifestyles. Well, here's what's going to happen, especially for females. Women have a finite time that they're fertile, really, but that they're really attractive. And vlogging like this, being a vlogger, that's not a long-time career. Trust me. I've had a channel a lot bigger than this, and I did a lot more than she had. Not that I'm trying to downplay her, but that's not a long-time career. And a lot of her most successful videos, they're her taking a photo in a bikini for that thumbnail. So she has that bikini thumbnail photo, which I'm not trying to get on her for that. She's doing the smart thing, doing what you have to do to get clicks and be successful. That's what you have to resort to. So I'm not keen on her for that. But you're not going to be a 50-year-old woman putting on the bikini, taking photos for that YouTube thumbnail to get those clicks. Like I said, there's going to be younger, fresher people out there. So this is not a long-time career. Not that I'm trying to say this is necessarily her long-time goal. And someone else here responds to one of my comments, marriage and kids does not guarantee happiness, exclamation point. I have 2 cousins that married during their prime years and had a kid each and are now divorced. One has to pay child support, which, by the way, I'm sure that's a male cousin, not a female like in this video. And the other has to be a single mom. Well, if she's a single mom, she's probably also, at least if you're in the United States, she can get the man to pay child support and alimony. If that guy has a job, they'll garnish it out of his wages automatically. That's not the way, the law isn't fair, but that's the way it works. And they say life is not so simple. And I said, there are no guarantees in life, but kids are fulfilling. A childless woman is a sad, pathetic thing. Also, if she gets divorced, she'll probably get the child support and alimony, and some guy's gonna have to take care of her anyways. But that's true. There are no guarantees in life. But we have to do the things that are going to give us the best chances at success. Because ultimately, you can have these goals when they're young, and they can be good goals. Make money. Maybe you want attention. Maybe you want some level of fame. I'm not saying any of this stuff is bad. But ultimately, what's going to fulfill you, or what should fulfill you, is hopefully finding true, meaningful, deep love. And the reality is, these people that are leaving you sweet comments on YouTube, they do not love you. When you're old and you're in your final years and you're coming on your deathbed, these people from YouTube, they're not going to be there for you. But hopefully, if you're successful at taking care of your family, running a good family life, hopefully they are there for you in your final years. And to find deep, meaningful love, how are you going to do that? It's not through these strangers, that little bit of feel good you get when people leave nice comments. The only way you can really have true, meaningful love is to find a partner and to have children. That's the only really true, meaningful, deep, deep love you can have. And the reality is, when you find that deep, meaningful love and that fulfillment, it can be very demotivating. There's no real reason to keep going out and making more money or getting more fame unless it's just your ego. That's just your ego. So take it from someone that's lived this life. I've traveled around, I've been in a lot of different countries. Are we to believe that this girl is really fulfilled in life? And how many vloggers do we know, they fake happiness? Even if they're happy when their channel's doing well and they're truly happy with the success, it's new, eventually they're not happy anymore and they have to start faking that happiness. What's going on with this girl? Is this really a life for a young woman to be living? Going around to third world countries, getting scammed, getting taken advantage of by these foreign people. Really, she should chalk it up to, hey, I'm still young enough to change my life, but here's the kicker. You might not be fulfilled when you find a loving partner and you have those kids. These days, a lot of American women aren't, but you got to make sure you appreciate that. You got to live a grateful life. So this advice applies to guys, and I know myself because I've lived a lot of this life, and now I'm starting over again with this channel to do something else. But guys, don't wait forever to have your children. Even obviously for women, they have a very finite amount of time. They have a finite amount of time when they're attractive, and let's face it, a lot of women's value is tied very much to their looks. And that's why the makeup industry is $1 trillion a year industry. But even for men, guys, you don't want to be having children when you're 50, 60 years old. Don't wait too long. So don't make that mistake. If you have to do some of this stuff when you're young, do it when you're young. Maybe get it out of your system. Learn the downside as well, instead of just like the stuff that you see on YouTube of all this fake happiness, all this fake glamour. When you travel around a lot, as I have, it gets old after a while, trust me. Something else about this girl in her situation, she can't name the people that messed her over and took advantage of her because she has to fear for her life. Apparently they're threatening to report her to the Chinese government as an American spy. And very bad things could happen, even potential death for this. So she's really ended up in a sticky situation. We've seen a lot of these social media stars come and go, and one thing that is a common trend for them is burnout and often depression. It seems to be a clear path to unhappiness, and seemingly the more success they get, and this is something I'm concerned about. I have a 10-year-old niece that wants to be a vlogger, and I'm okay with it, but you got to be careful that they don't go down that path that it seems just about all YouTube stars go down, where it leads to unhappiness. So fellas, hopefully you've learned from this video and you've taken something away that can really resonate with you and help you and really improve your life. And that's number one, don't wait too long. People are waiting too long. I'm speaking from experience myself to have kids. And the other is, when you really have something, not just a family, not just a loving relationship, but when you really have something, be grateful for it. Because the bottom line is, you're not going to end up happy without being grateful. I know you've heard this a lot, but it's worth drumming into your head, and really you have to try and actively put this into practice. If you have a family, be really grateful for it, especially even if it's just a mom and dad that love you. So many people don't have that. So pursue things that are ultimately going to fulfill you. You can have those more superficial goals. There's nothing wrong with that. But after a while, it's just going to be your ego. So go ahead, check out our other videos. We have a lot more stuff for you. That's all, folks.